Constance Levens was born on 11th April 1856 in the West Flemish town of Moerslade in Belgium. While in school, he was a virtuous boy and had great devotion to Mother Mary. In order to become a diocesan priest, he started his philosophy at Roeselare and then joined the major seminary of Bruges. After a year, he left the seminary to join the Society of Jesus and entered the novitiate of Dronten on 21st October 1878. He arrived in India on 2nd December 1880 and was ordained a priest on 14th January 1883 in Calcutta.
Until 1868, Catholic faith had not arrived in the tribal land of Chota Nagpur. The first Catholic missionary to arrive in Chota Nagpur was Father August Stockman S.J. He travelled from Midnapur in Bengal to Chaibasa in 1868. He baptized a few Munda tribals. In 1876, a social boycott led the newly baptized Mundas and the missionaries to Buridi, known today as Kochang, in Khunti district. The Jesuit missionaries established 3 more missions in the area, but years of hard work did not bring much results.
The initial years were tough, as if the Almighty was testing the tenacity of these priests. Even after 16 years of tireless work, traveling from village to village, hamlet to hamlet, the initial figure could reach only 2,120. During this struggling period, the missionaries had to protect themselves from malaria, pneumonia, and blackwater fever. Secondly, they had to survive on whatever food was available. To make matters worse, the local language was incomprehensible and the terrain dangerous. Yet, the group marched on.
Father Levens was sent to Chota Nagpur region by the Jesuit superior of the Bengal mission. He had seen Father Levens at work in Calcutta in 1883 and was deeply impressed by the young priest and found in him the perfect man for the Chota Nagpur mission. Father Levens finally arrived at the Jesuits' residence Doranda on 18 March 1885. On the very next day, he set off for Jamgai, 15 kilometers away on the Ranchi Chaibasa road. To communicate and mix up with the locals, he immediately put in all efforts to learn Hindi, Mundari and Kuduk. There he discovered and was moved by the insurmountable hardships the tribals had to undergo throughout their life. This was due to exploitation by the zamindars, contractors, the local police and the government officials, and also the prevailing law of the land. The tribals were a hapless lot in a hopeless state.
To understand the situation better, we need to recall the zamindari system that came into existence with the introduction of Permanent Settlement Act in 1793 in Bengal. As a result, most of the Adivasis lost ownership rights of the land which had all along belonged to them as the first settlers of this region since 1st millennium BC. It soon turned out that the Adivasis were to pay taxes for their own land. It was difficult for the poor and the illiterate tribals to prove or disprove what taxes they have paid, especially when all the documents were in the landlord's custody. There was an option available for those who could not pay to leave their home and land forever and settle somewhere else, or agree for Beth Begari. It meant work without any pay and with no fixed hours or time limit.
Beth Begaris, that is the defaulters, had to be at the beck and call of the landlords who had stretched the number of days from the customary 14 or 15 to 62 to 84 or more days of unpaid labor per year. This was legal punishment to all those who could not pay the taxes to the local landlords. Thus, the doors for land grabbing was opened. Acres and acres of tribal land would be confiscated on the pretext that a particular tax was not cleared. Rarely did a tribal go to the court. No tribal had ever won any case against any landlord. Moreover, the court proceedings were in Hindi or Urdu, an unknown language for the Mundas and Urams. Over and above, the tribals had no document to prove the ownership of their land. And to top that, they have no ready cash, which was necessary to fight the court case.
There was frustration and inner turmoil. The tribals too had their own problems, fear of evil spirits and ghosts, but more notably, illiteracy.
Having realized their plight and the root cause of it, on 23rd November 1885, Father Levens shifted to Thorpa. This place was somewhere between the regions inhabited by the Mundas and Urams and close to Ranchi, where court existed. At Thorpa police station, he befriended Vishweshwar Singh, a high-caste Hindu police officer. From him, Father Levens learnt much about the country, its laws and customs. Once during the course of a discussion, Vishweshwar told Father Levens that if he really desires the conversion of the natives, he will have to defend them, especially in question of land rent and forced labor, that is, Beth Bagari. If he undertakes that, he will have as many questions as he wishes. This unsolicited but friendly suggestion was a beacon of hope for Father Levens. Immediately, he took lessons on the land laws and the traditional rights and customs of the Adivasis, simultaneously also studying the illegal practices of the landlords. Within no time, Thorpa became the capital of tribal world, with Father Levens at its helm. Then, in the first time in the history, a court case against a zamindar was won by a tribal in a land dispute. Then another was won. Then another. Then another.
There was jubilation all over the tribal region. This infuriated the landlords to the extent that they sought opportunities to teach a lesson to the tribals and also the missionaries who backed them.
Meanwhile, Father Levens shifted to Ranchi, and with his most trusted lieutenant, Father Louis Cardian, he would be busy with the first 6 months of the calendar year with the court cases. In the next 6 months, when the tribals would be busy with cultivation, he would visit villages after villages, educating the masses and starting schools.
As a result, by the end of 1889, there were more than 15,000 Catholics in 400 villages with 60 schools and chapels.
By early 1890, Father Levens was diagnosed of tuberculosis, an incurable disease of that period. Generations of today may not have the imaginative power to conceive Father Levens' speed, zeal. They were so intense. For weeks together, he would hardly get off the horse, shuttling from one place to another, ignoring extreme weather conditions, holding 8 to 10 meetings every day, eating whatever food available on the way, and finally take a nap for a couple of hours under a tree draped in a blanket, only when he and his horse had no energy left for a single stride forward.
Levens knew that he had only 6-7 years in hand to wrap up life's commitment, as if St. Francis Xavier's life was being replayed during his days at Travancore and Cape Comorin some 470 years ago.
Sensing his last few days, he went to Belgium for treatment and recuperation. He died on 7th November 1893 at a young age of 37. The cause of his death was primarily due to poor diet and exhaustion due to long working hours. Fire must burn was his motto, and he lived and died too with this conviction.
In 1892, when Father Levens was struck down with illness, Father Louis Cardian continued his pioneering work. By the end of 19th century, the result of the unflagging work of Father Levens and team was that the number of Catholics increased manifold from the couple of hundreds to more than 60,000.
Father Constant Levens came to Ranchi, Chotanagpur to evangelize the people here. Once people came to know that this Belgian missionary, the foreigner, was trying to save their land, a big number of people came from all parts of Chotanagpur and beyond Chotanagpur. And of course, he protected the land and he also evangelized them. He gave the message of Jesus. He gave them Jesus and they embraced Jesus Christ. And he had great zeal in his heart to evangelize the whole of Chotanagpur. And therefore, he constantly moved around from one place to another. He understood that they had to be educated. And therefore, he not only was instrument in baptizing in 7 years about 70,000 people, but he also started about 70 primary schools so that the children of this land could be educated. And of course, he had a big number of catechists and big number of teachers he employed, and also the evangelization went far and wide. We see that our parents were educated and many people were educated and they got the government jobs, they moved out and they themselves became evangelizers, and they had spread out all over Chotanagpur, and thus the church grew very rapidly. Many more missionaries came from Belgium and also from other countries, and with that, of course, Christianity became quite powerful, quite strong.
Father Levens.
Once, a worker of Father Levens was kidnapped by his enemies. He rushed to the spot on his horseback and just like an eagle capturing a chicken, he pulled up his worker and fled away. Like this, he did many marvelous deeds.
चमत्कारिक काम करते थे.
Constant Levens.
Father Constant Levens came as a liberator of our tribal society. He led a unique movement. People accepted him because he lived with them and solved their problems related to their land, basic rights, and against exploitation. The simple Adivasis trusted him and gladly accepted the Christian faith he shared and thus received baptism. He taught them to be self-dependent and gave them education so as to progress in life. Today, after many years, the sons and daughters of this land have progressed much ahead. In the military services, police force, railways, communications, and planning, and under various ministries, they are serving the nation as IAS, IPS, and as provincial administrators and officers with commitment and zeal. In the field of sports, namely hockey, the Olympian Michael Kinder, Silvanus Dungdung, Dilip Tirki, Bimal Lakra, Samurai Tete, Mazira Surin, Asunta Lakra are inspiring models for the future generations. The credit for their courage and confidence goes to Father Levens.
और जो निडरता, निर्भयता अगर आई है, तो उसका श्रेय कॉन्स्टेंट लेवेंस को जाता है.
फादर लेवेंस सबसे बड़ी बात.
The greatest achievement of Father Levens is that he promoted education. As a result, women of our land are in such high positions that the government will have to acknowledge our might.
ऊंचे पदों पर हैं कि सरकार को भी शायद लोहा लेना पड़ेगा.
The important thing is that the people who were converted, they had very strong faith. Very, very strong faith. And of course, not all were educated. And some had to migrate. And some migrated to Assam, to Dibrugarh, to Bagdogra, and many places. And they took the religion with them. And the church was established in those places. After that, many young boys also became priests. And now they have moved out to other countries also as missionaries. when he started the schools, a greater number of Hindus and Muslims also attended the school. And of course, they got the Christian values, the gospel values. And in a way, the society was transformed that way. We can say that because of the impact of Constant Levens, there is peace and harmony among the people here. We thank God for him for his great work.
When I went for my high school studies in Torpa, there I stayed in Levens Vocation Center. There I really started to know about Father Levens, his work, and about his life. His motto, "Fire must burn," these were the catching words that immediately caught my mind and attention. And whenever I remember these words, always I am filled with encouragement to move ahead in my life. After my high school days, I came for my college studies in St. Xavier's Ranchi. In the year 1985, we presented a drama based on the life of Father Levens because that was the centenary year when Father Levens came to Chota Nagpur. And his life really touched my heart very deeply. From 1995 to 2000, I worked with one Belgian priest, Father Aurel Brice, for the formation of lay leadership. So during these years, whenever I went to work in different districts of Chota Nagpur, whenever I met many people, then I found out the impact of Father Levens in their lives. I was called to work in Vatican Radio in Rome from 2001 to 2012. In those 12 years, always the remembrance of Father Levens was a constant guiding force for me to give the message, good news of Jesus. The work that Father Levens and other missionaries did in Ranchi, I was able to tell people through radio. Then in 2013, I came back to India, to Ranchi. I am working with the organization Lok Netritva Nirman. In short, we call it LNN. And through this, I am once again working with the lay leaders of Chota Nagpur. Always I remember Father Levens, because when I visit to different places and meet people, then immediately the life of Father Levens that comes back to my mind and my heart. Whenever I have ups and downs in my life, then I remember Father Levens, because traveling through valleys to different areas, I imagine how Father did in those years when nothing was there. This year I got an inspiration, the energy, the power, the companionship that I feel of Father Levens, I want to share with the people. So that's why this year I made a big calendar, and now people are getting it in their house.
Father Levens was a man of God as a priest and missionary, and man of people as a leader, constantly fighting for them. Following in the footsteps of his Master Jesus, Father Levens gave himself wholeheartedly and completely. It was through his selfless love for the people, empathy to the Adivasis, and sensitivity to their needs that he won the hearts of those who came to him. He loved them all with a love sincere and burning, and that makes him a model missionary for all ages to come.